RGB Sconce in context, engaging with Alan Phelan's sculpture. Alan Phelan's work, RGB Sconce Hold Your Nose, was the first sculpture to be installed of 6 public artworks commissioned by Sculpture Dublin. It is a temporary and site-specific sculpture made for and in response to its location that will be in place at City Hall for the duration of 1 year.
It's about putting something very basically, something very colourful in front of a big grey building and referencing the historic nature of that particular building with these 18th century kind of reference points to Rococo and Baroque and the acanthus leaf, and then it kind of becomes more complicated when you kind of think about it in different ways in terms of the historical references and then how it's made. So it's always difficult to know how a public work like this will be received and what people will find meaning in. I've assigned a bunch of different narratives to it, which will be available in ways that not everybody will see. One thing that happens when you put a piece of work into the outside world is that people just will find their own way of understanding it and bring their own reference points to it.
Well, instantly I was kind of drawn to it just purely because of the colour.
It caught my eye. It kind of reminded me of like somebody dancing.
I actually think it's very colourful, but I'm not entirely sure that I like it. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, it just reminds me of the character in Beauty and the Beast.
I like the colours. It brings a splash of colour just to this part of the city. It's pretty grey, brick, monotone.
When I saw it first, it was like it's something to do with the primary colours, and then I could see that possibly it was a representation of hope because a torch to me, like at the top, would represent that.
It does stand out to me, all right. The candles lighting the way, you know, that idea.
I do think it's a bit kitsch, but I'm not sure if it's aiming at that. It reminds me very much of the pop art of the 60s. It seems to be taking a sort of mundane thing and then enlarging it and putting it on the spot so you would look at it maybe in a different way.
The actual architecture of it itself, the piece itself, blends in very well with the building itself.
Well, I think it definitely stands out more because it's on the plane. It makes it so much more accessible for the public. A lot of people still have this whole vision that they can't go into a gallery or a museum and that they'd be way out of their depth and stuff, but if you're walking down here, you can just easily admire it on your way.
Sculpture, you usually think of it as something that's very permanent. So in that sense, I guess it's an interesting thing that this is going to be temporary. It reminds me of, I think they have the same in Trafalgar Square, where you can also have rotating artwork. So I think that's interesting.
If it is only there for a year, and hopefully, maybe, I don't know, if something's getting replaced there with something else, then I think that would make it even better as well, because then it's like a continuous kind of exhibition.
I enjoy it, and like hopefully even if it is moved it could go somewhere else, because you know we need a lot more art in public space in this country in general.
Following its year-long instalment, this site-specific sculpture will be removed from its intended location, and with this it will lose its geographic link to its visual and historic references. However, should the sculpture be installed in a different location, it will take with it these references but set in an entirely new context. This is one of a series of videos exploring Alan Phelan's sculpture. To view the whole series, please visit sculpturedublin.ie.